Superman, Clark Kent, the Man of Steel, one of the most well-known figures in pop culture for decades, an idol for children and adults all over the world. When we think of people like this, we imagine them as unstoppable, unfaultable, inevitably incredible, yet Superman himself disagrees. You see, Kent doesn't believe that he's unstoppable. He is self-aware enough to admit that he is flawed and know that that's okay. Kent's vulnerability is what makes him powerful. Perfect people become afraid of failure, afraid of embarrassment, afraid that they will ruin their reputation. But those who acknowledge their faults and understand their weaknesses can grow stronger through them. This is clearly represented in George Orwell's 1949 novel 1984 and David Omoregi's, also known as Dave's, 2021 album We're All Alone in This Together, in which both main characters understand and acknowledge their weaknesses, which allows them to become stronger. In 1984, Winston's flaws, his stubbornness and naivety, allow him to experience real human emotions and sustain his rebellion against Big Brother. In We're All Alone in This Together, Dave's rough childhood and self-doubt promote sincere personal reflections and criticism, which are central to his relatability and artistic growth. The paradoxical idea that a person's flaws can help them grow highlights the deep complexity of the human experience. In 1984, we see that Winston's stubbornness and naivety, his flaws, facilitate the feeling of real human emotions and sustain his resistance against Big Brother. Winston is too stubborn to conform with the rules set by the party. He's capable of thought crime and ideas of rebellion, which the other normal citizens wouldn't dare to think of. We firstly see this when Winston writes, "Down with Big Brother," in his diary. The complete capitalization of this phrase symbolizes the powerful feelings of resistance and nonconformity brewing inside of Winston. He's determined to take down the thing that has destroyed the world he once loved, and he refuses to get brainwashed like the rest of the population. His stubbornness has allowed him to experience real human feelings and understand that what is going on in his world is morally abhorrent. He recognized his flaw and used it as a motivation to make his world a better place. Winston's stubbornness continues to help him throughout the book, as seen in "Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 plus 2 make 4. Now, Big Brother isn't actually changing arithmetic, but this motif is rather a symbolic representation for the totalitarian regime which they are imposing onto the citizens. The axiom of 2 plus 2 make 4 is a universal truth which is accepted by all people, so the fact that Winston is saying he will always believe it no matter what shows that his stubbornness helps him to stay nonconformist and unique. This individuality allows him to see the truth in a world full of lies and facilitates his experience of human emotions. Along with his stubbornness, Winston also uses his naivety to grow, as it creates optimism and therefore sustains his rebellion against Big Brother. Although the hope is sometimes baseless and far-fetched, it still serves as the foundation for his revolt. This is demonstrated when he says, "Until they become conscious, they will never rebel, and until after they have rebelled, they cannot become conscious." Orwell uses a paradox to highlight Winston's circular reasoning, which justifies his hope. This mindset demonstrates Winston's naive optimism and gives him the illusion that he can make a change. Winston's gullible positivity is also seen in "If there is hope, it lies in the proles," which uses dramatic irony to portray the unsupported optimism that Winston keeps throughout the book. The reader knows that the proles won't really help him, but Winston's foolish optimism provides the faith that keeps him committed to the defiance against Big Brother. His naivety is the biggest supporter of his insurrection, and without it, he would see the truth and realize that there is no hope for it. Winston's flaws, his stubbornness and naivety, are some of the biggest strengths. His stubbornness enables him to engage with genuine human emotions, whilst his naivety fuels the fire of his rebellion against Big Brother. His flaws are enabling him to grow, which highlights the extreme complexity of the human experience. We can see this same idea in Dave's 2021 album We're All Alone in This Together, in which Dave's flaws also facilitate his growth and maturity. His moments of self-doubt are catalysts for self-improvement, while the hardship of his childhood promotes deep, introspective reflections. This is greatly seen through the album's cover, which depicts the salient image of the boat in the middle of a vast ocean. The contrast between the small boat and the vast ocean is reflective of how Dave feels in his moments of self-doubt. Imagine if you were in a massive ocean, all alone, stuck with your own thoughts. It would be scary at first, but you'd begin to realize that you won't escape the situation by panicking, but rather by thinking critically about how to find land. Dave's self-doubt catalyzes his self-improvement because it makes him realize his situation and facilitates a correction. His self-doubt is also explored in the album's opening song, We're All Alone, particularly when Dave discusses his conversations with a child who reached out to him for mental health advice. Dave helps the child and says, "In 23 years, I've done so much wrong, but in that moment I just felt like I had made it right." The juxtaposition between so much wrong and made it right highlights the growth that Dave has undergone through his self-doubt. This contrast between a lifetime of mistakes and a single redemptive moment suggests that his self-criticism has sharpened his desire to evolve. His self-doubt has facilitated his growth. Dave's rough childhood experiences have also laid foundation for his growth as they promote deep, introspective reflections. These personal reflections encourage Dave to see, understand, and acknowledge his flaws, therefore allowing him to correct them. The 11th song on the album, Heart Attack, discusses Dave's difficult childhood circumstances and how he has overcome them. This is shown when he says, "Where I'm from, the word life has a different meaning," in which Dave talks in first person, supporting the idea that his childhood experiences have promoted personal reflections on how he can grow. He realizes that in his hometown, people die from knife crime every day, and that these people value life so much more than people from nicer neighborhoods who just take it for granted. He knows how precious life is, and he uses that to his advantage by pushing himself to do the best work that he can in his lifetime. He continues this idea in "Growing up I had it far from perfect, but nobody did, so I'm a normal person." His use of a colloquial tone demonstrates the fact that he isn't an anomaly, but rather just a normal person. After reflecting upon his past, Dave comes to terms with his experiences and uses them to his advantage. He stops feeling sorry for himself, and this pushes him to go further with his career, which catalyzes his personal growth. We can see that Dave's flaws, his self-doubt and rough childhood, enable him to grow as a person by facilitating self-improvement and promoting deep, introspective reflections. So, can our flaws really be our greatest strength? Well, of course they can. We use our flaws to learn how to improve ourselves and grow as people. This is clearly demonstrated in Orwell's 1984 and Dave's We're All Alone in This Together. In 1984, Winston's flaws, his stubbornness and naivety, are what fuel his rebellion against Big Brother and what allow him to feel real human emotions in a dull world. In We're All Alone in This Together, Dave's self-doubt and rough childhood experiences are what help him to grow, as they facilitate self-improvement and encourage deep introspective reflections. If you acknowledge and understand your flaws, then you too can be just like Winston, Dave, or Superman.